This video will show you how to view and print input reports in EnergyGauge Summit if you are getting the EnergyGauge Summit has stopped working message while trying to view your input reports. This is only a workaround as we are still working on a solution to actually fix the problem. Now, if you do not know whether or not you've been having this error or you want to confirm, it'll look something like this. When we open up the EnergyGauge Summit software, we're going to go ahead and open a project. It'll happen with any project, and we're going to use the sample project for now. When you view your input report, you can do it from the report menu here. You also have the option in the latest version of EnergyGauge Summit to append the input report to compliance output reports. If you have this checked, then every time you run Florida code, the input report will be attached at the end of your Florida code output results. If you do not check this off, the input report is not going to be attached. The crash only happens if you're viewing the input report. So either this is checked and you're running Florida code, or you're viewing the input report through this menu. If you have not checked this button and you run Florida code, you will not get the error that follows. When you run the input report, you have the option to include profile and schedule data or not. This does not affect the crash, whether you select yes or no. I'm going to select no. It's just a shorter report that does not include the schedules and data. Now, almost immediately, we get the message that EnergyGauge Summit has stopped working. This is the crash we're talking about when viewing the input reports. Go ahead and close the program if you get this. Debugging the program and checking online for a solution will not resolve it or bring you a fix at this time. Now I'm going to show you how to work around this error message. As I mentioned, it is only a workaround. It is not a permanent solution, but at least you can view your input reports. Go ahead and open EnergyGauge Summit again, but don't open a project right away. Instead of using this open menu to select a project, we're going to go to File. Again, you have this open option here, but we're not going to use that either. What we need to do is select a project from the stored memory of EnergyGauge Summit. When we select from this list, it's selecting any recent projects in EnergyGauge Summit, anything that you've opened recently. I have the sample Summit here, so I can go ahead and select that. Now, we're going to open the input report like we normally would. No difference at all. This has allowed us to view the input data report. Now, what if the project you want is not in this file list here? Well, that's simple enough. Now that we've viewed the input report once in another file, we can go ahead and close this file without closing EnergyGauge Summit in the background. And now we can select the Open and Browse option. Now if we select this and we browse for a file, whether it's in your documents or your downloads or here in the EnergyGauge directory where our sample project is, if we open it from here, we can again use the input report option without an error message, so long as we did not close the EnergyGauge Summit program in between projects. The error seems to be something associated with this browse box that comes up in between, where we have the option to search for and open a project. So we have to avoid using it by selecting something from this list. So if you are getting the input report error message telling you that EnergyGauge Summit has stopped working, close Summit, reopen it, and select a project from memory here. Run an input report, close the project using the close button up here without closing EnergyGauge, and then browse for the project that you want to open. Thank you for your patience, and hopefully we will have a permanent fix for this soon.